welcome our chief guest Neelu Jain to deliver an important topic, the power of being you. So we welcome you, ma'am. The whole big of Aviation Private Limited team. The session is over to you.
Sure, thank you so much, ma'am. And good afternoon, everybody. I hope all of you are doing well and everybody is good, everybody is keeping safe. Let me just share my screen with you. And today I'm going to be talking about something, but before that, let me quickly just take about a minute to tell you a little more about myself. It's been about 13 plus years since I have been into training and development, and I take care of two organizations. One is into corporate training, which is called Chrysalis Training and Consultancy. Another one is called Emerge Finishing School, where we take care of students, campus readiness, campus development for students to become better in terms of their corporate readiness. Now, before I start with what I have to discuss with you, give me a thumbs up if you guys are able to hear me, see me, as well as the PPT is working fine for you. Everything well, then you can give me a thumbs up maybe. One thumbs up is also good enough for me to understand. Okay, all right. Right, so let's get started and help you discover the power of being you. Now, what is this all about? The power of being you. And the reason why I have this you in the center is because today's session is all going to be about you and how you can unleash your potential and how can you come out by that understanding that it's all about you and it's all about your power. So I'm going to begin, like I shared, that 13 years it's been into training and development. Let me look back at my life with you. And here is me, like the cartoon version of me. And when I started off, of course, each one of us, when we start off, we have some friends, some family members that we are all together with. Um, Everybody has different perceptions towards life. When we start off, our friends also start off with their careers. But what I want to bring to you today is something extremely important and extremely relevant, which I want to start with. And that's how I'm looking back at my life. Because when I started with my journey, after I finished my education, after I finished my graduation, what did I start doing and what did my friends, the other part that we were all together with, the other people who I had grown up with, what were they doing and what was I doing? So if I can tell you about a timeline, if I can tell you where did I start and what happened, let's assume this was my timeline and over here this was their timeline. So when I started, after graduation, I started working. While I was working, my colleagues, my friends who I had grown up with were still studying. So this is what they were doing. I was working, they were studying. So finally, when I was working, there were so many things that I got to learn, I got to explore, but these guys were still studying full time. So after that, what happened? I got my first promotion in the company. And these people by then had got their first job. And the salary they received were double of what I was getting even after a promotion because they had pursued a full-time course. So that's when I started thinking that did I do something wrong? Was my decision of life not that great? Did something go wrong? I started thinking to myself because these guys, initially, I was very happy because while they were studying, I was working and I was earning, they were not earning. In fact, most of them had loans. After that, when I got my first promotion and they got better salary than me because of the first job, the thinking cap went on, the criticism started happening, the thoughts started coming in. Was the decision right? Was my decision right? So then what started happening was after some time, I joined another organization with a better package, with a better role, better responsibilities. By then, my set of friends had received their first promotion and again they grew a notch higher than me. Again, that thinking cap, that criticism cap went on. And I was thinking, okay, now what? Next what? So finally, in 2015, I quit my full-time job and I thought it's time to do something of my own. And in 2016, I formed Chrysalis, which is into corporate training. By then, these guys were doing quite well. Most of them had received their second promotion. Most of them had reached up to the senior manager, AVP level. And I was there thinking what to do because I had to start from the beginning. So, this is how my life went, and this is how their life went. Finally, they got another promotion. They or some of them entered into another organization. And for me, what happened in a few years' time, my business got 10x of growth. So that is something that happened with me. So, my dear friends, my dear colleagues, what I want to tell you is something very, very simple. The reason why I spoke about me and them is because my timeline, the way I took decisions, the way I carried on with my life was completely different from how my friends, my colleagues, the other people I knew carried on their lives. They made some different choices which were suitable according to them, and I made some different choices which were suitable according to me. So in our lives, we have a lot of these question marks when we see other people achieving something that we haven't achieved. We start thinking to ourselves, did I go wrong somewhere? Did I not take up the right kind of decisions? That keeps happening. It happened to me as well, where I learned the first life lesson which I want to share with you. There's nobody right and nobody wrong. Neither were the friends wrong, nor was I wrong. There's no right and wrong. And there's a very nice quote that I want to share with you, that just because you took longer than others doesn't mean you failed. Remember that. The first lesson that I want to share with you comes that everyone has a different timeline. Everybody has a different timeline. The three photographs that I'm sharing with you, I'm not sure if anybody would like to answer, or let me do that for you. The first one was KFC, Colonel Sanders. He was the one who's the man behind KFC. He's the one who's made it so popular, came up with this magic recipe, and everybody knows KFC. Even a kid in the rural part might also know KFC. Why? Because it's so famous. Everybody talks about it, everybody knows it, everyone has experienced it. Colonel Sanders formed KFC. He came up with KFC only at the age of 62. That was his timeline. At 62, he started something which is all over the world today. The person in the middle, the person in the center is Arnold, the very famous Arnold. He changed his careers multiple times at multiple time of his life. So he was a world champion, and that's how he got to be renowned throughout the world. He was a world bodybuilding champion in his 20s. Then he entered Hollywood and he became an award winning actor in his 30s. Finally, the final one, he was the governor of California in 2003 at the age of 56. So that has been his career transitions. The person to the extreme right is Jeff, the person behind Amazon. He was working successfully with Wall Street and then supporting a few financial companies. He quit and launched Amazon at the age of 31. So we have somebody at the age of 62 started KFC. We have someone who made different career choices at different point of time. We have someone who came up with that biggest e-commerce business today at the age of 31, which is usually considered to be a too late an age as per the ideal standard that we have been told. So the first lesson again is stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself with others. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, because everyone has a different timeline. Don't compare yourself with others. Like I showed you my timeline, and like I showed you my friends' timelines, I'm sure in your life you would have come across a lot of times when you have compared yourself with the achievements of your friends. While they become successful, maybe if you guys are going for your final interviews, whenever you're going for campus placements, you will realize that there will be some people who will crack the first job or who will crack their dream company jobs. And maybe some people are not able to. Doesn't mean the life ends there. Maybe they're meant for something else. Maybe the second company that comes through, they get through that. So, what I'm trying to tell you all is reminder number one, everyone has a different timeline. Not necessarily if one person has achieved it at X amount of time, you will also achieve it then. If one person has taken X route, doesn't mean X route is right. Maybe your route is right as well. Only time decides that. There is no right, no wrong. It's all about what you want to do, it's all about your timeline. So that's the first lesson for all of you. Everyone has a different timeline. Next, I want to share something interesting with you. And this was a question that I wanted to ask all of you. What comes to your mind when you think of a painter? Somebody probably who's creative, somebody who has a lot of imaginary skills, visualization skills. A speaker, somebody who's extremely confident. A scuba diver, maybe somebody who's completely into games, sporting, enthusiast, fearless. A change catalyst, somebody who brings about a change in the other people. That person motivation level should be here at the highest, at the peak. Inspiring others, somebody who must be so inspirational himself or herself. But if I put all of this together and I tell you, what if that person has no arms and no legs? Can we all put all of this together with this? Can we think of a painter, a speaker, a scuba diver, a change catalyst, inspiring others, yet does not have arms and legs? So all of this the person is able to do without being able to have his arms and legs. Yes, it is possible. Who makes it possible? Is this big star. For many, many years, he has been inspiring a lot of individuals across the world. He is Mr. Nick Vujicic, who has been a motivational speaker and inspiration across the world, conducting multiple sessions, telling people that it's so important to start believing in themselves. So, the reason why I put across this thought is because whenever we think, okay, painter, that means the person must be amazing in visualization skills. If somebody is a diver, that means the person must be, extremely fearless, or getting into sports, must be very fit, etc. These are perceptions that we have. Nick makes it possible because he believes in the power of our mind, in the power of our mind in terms of, how much can we control ourselves if we have belief on ourselves. He has a very nice quote which, he usually uses, where he says that we can overcome all disabilities unless and until we are disabled from our own mind. And he makes it so true. He's a father. He does everything. I mean, you name a sport and he has done it, because he's never considered his disability a challenge. He has always taken it as not a roadblock, but as something that he can overcome, because he is so mentally strong. So, my dear colleagues, my dear friends, I want to tell you that a lot of times what we do is we always look at what we don't have. We start looking at, or maybe we start becoming too comfortable with whatever we've achieved. It's important for us to do something outside our comfort zone. I'm sure there would be moments in your life when, let's say, you went for an adventure sport. Maybe somebody forced you into it and said, "Chalo, chalo, let's try, do this adventure sport." And you might have thought, "Oh my God, I can't do it." Maybe you were too scared. But when you do it, you will get thrilled and you'll be like, "Oh my God, the only thing that was stopping me was myself. The only fear that I had was inside the head. It did not exist in reality." So, what I'm wanting to tell you, and I want you to understand, is unless we come out of our comfort zone, we'll not be able to realize our potential. We'll not be able to realize how much can we do. Because lesson number two, or reminder number two, that I want to give to you is, you are powerful beyond measure. Each one of you have the power. Each one of you have the potential. All you need to do is just untap, unleash that potential. And that is possible only when you start believing in yourself. If Nick did not believe in himself, he would have never been able to be where he is. Nick is just one of the examples. I'm sure in your life, you would have come across a lot of people that you would have read about, seen about. Somebody would have introduced you to them, how they have defied their odds, how they did not give in to their situation, their unfavorable situation. They came out of it. There are people who are mountain climbers who do not have, who are not as blessed as we are in terms of their physical ability is concerned. There are people who are making changes to the society even when they don't have enough financial background, because they always go by one power which is there in their mind. They don't go by the power of their physical body, they go by their mental power. And what we do to ourselves is, even after having everything proper, we can hear, we can speak, we can listen, we can talk, we can sit, we can walk, everything in place, yet we disable ourselves from this place because we keep telling ourselves what we don't have or what we can't do instead of exploring what we can do. So, my dear friends, I want to tell you, reminder number two, you are powerful beyond measure. All you need to do is just unleash your potential. Realize and understand that there's so much that you can do. Try and come out of your comfort zone. Try and come out of doing the same routine task. Do something new. Explore. You will be amazed to see the power that you have. So that's reminder number two. I'll just take a pause in case somebody wants to share something or has any question that you would like to ask. I can do that while I move on to the next one. So this is something that I wanted to ask all of you. If you would like to be known by two adjectives, any two adjectives, what would that be? If somebody would like to share with me in the chat box, you can. I'll just take a minute or a few seconds in case somebody would like to share. If you would like to be known by two adjectives, what would that be? You know, while I was doing this with a few other colleges and with a few other corporates, I have heard things like, I want to be known as kind, I want to be known as somebody who's confident, somebody who is helpful. So these are various adjectives that we want to be known as. That's beautiful, that's wonderful. Um, Another thought that comes to my mind is, let's say, for example, if I'm going on saying that I want to be known as somebody who is helpful, for example, or somebody who is confident. I'm just typing it down here. Let's say I want to be known as somebody who's confident. So that is something that is visible. That is something that you will be able to see in my behavior. Maybe as a confident person, I'll carry myself really well. I'll speak fluently, and that's how you will know, okay, this person is confident. Let's say somebody says that I want to be known as someone who is accountable, somebody who takes ownership of his or her own work. I don't have to be told what to do. Let's say somebody wants to be known like that. So we are taking two examples. One, somebody wants to be known as someone who's extremely confident, and somebody who wants to be known as who has ownership. So this figure that you see is an iceberg. And most of us only, like we always see 10% of the iceberg. We only see the tip of the iceberg. What's driving us is something that we need to understand. So if I want to come across as confident, if I want to display ownership in my visible behavior, there has to be some driving force. There has to be something that is driving me to showcase these things. I cannot be from inside, I cannot be with self doubts, but on the outside, I show confidence. Very rarely that can happen. So if I have to sound confident, if I have to look confident, I have to internally have something that drives my confidence. I have to have some driving force internally that can drive my ownership level. It has to be some sort of values, some sort of, the values that we instill within ourselves. It has to be a purpose, there has to be a goal, and of course what we tell ourselves. For example, if I know that, okay, I would like to be known as somebody with ownership and accountability, what drives my ownership? There has to be a purpose that, yeah, I want to finish my time, I want to finish my work on time, or maybe a few years from now I want to achieve this. So what will happen the moment my purpose is aligned? That will become my driving force, that will become my push to achieve what I really want to achieve. And that's how it will come out in my behavior, it will come out in my action. So, what I'm trying to tell you here is you need to figure out for yourself that what do you really want? What do you really want to do? Because unless that is established, it will never come out in your behavior. If you want to be known as somebody who's confident, if you want to be known as somebody who's chased his or her dreams, there has to be some driving factor. There has to be something that is pushing you to achieve those goals. If there's no timeline, if there's no deadline, we would probably not be doing anything. When there's a deadline or a timeline, we start working towards it. Same way, if there are no purpose, if there's no goal that you have set for your life, you will be directionless. You will not even know where to go. You will not even know what to do. So, what do you need to do? Sit with yourself and figure out what do I really want and why do I want it? It's not something that aaj man kiya, today I feel like doing this, so this is what I really want. No, your purpose, your goal, your desire is something beyond which you would always feel connected to. For example, when I started off my career 13 years back, I knew I wanted to become a trainer. I knew that I wanted to get into training and development because some incident happened which made me realize that I should get into this field. And that became my purpose, that became my goal. So automatically my daily actions got aligned towards it. I knew on an every single day basis, if I'm following ABC habits, it's taking me towards my goals. If I'm not following these habits, it's taking me away from my goals. So once you've set your purpose, once you know what you really want to do, you will see that all your behavior, your actions will be aligned to what you really want. So, reminder number three is find your purpose or find your goal, your motive for your motivation. Because as humans, as you know, if we don't have a purpose, it's very difficult for us to keep ourselves motivated. We might watch a video and feel, wow, I'm so charged up. But that's like a gas in the balloon. So the moment the gas is there, the balloon's flying up. The moment the gas releases, the balloon starts coming down. So, the third thing, like I have just mentioned to you, find your purpose, find your motive for your motivation. If you have that sorted, trust me, your journey of this whole thing will become very, very easy because you will know what are my daily actions. Is it helpful for me? Is it not helpful for me? You'll be able to guide yourself in a proper manner. So that was reminder number three. Now, moving ahead, this is a question that I wanted to ask all of you that if you could redo your life, let's say if you had a time machine, if you could go back in time and you could change something about your life, what would that be? Maybe any of your habits that you could change during this lifetime. If you had a time machine, you could redo it. What would that be? So I have heard people say things like, I wish I spoke more. I wish I wasn't an introvert. Or probably, I wish I did not waste time. I wish I was good with my parents. I wish I studied in a better school. So, different people have different regrets for their lives, looking back at their lives, something that they could not achieve. if they got a time to redo it, these are the various changes they would like to bring to their life. And these changes vary from personal, professional, to family, to everywhere. Different kind of changes that we all wish we could have done had we, if we could go back in time. Now, what starts happening is, um, you know, I want to share a story with you where there was a lady who was being called the ugliest woman, world's ugliest woman. Now, what is the story all about? There's this lady, I'll just show you the pictures. Her name is Lizzy. Now, Lizzy is a lady who was tagged as the world's ugliest woman. One day she was just doing her research on YouTube. By the way, she's born with a syndrome, and that syndrome is no matter how much she eats, she would never put on weight beyond a certain kilos, beyond a certain proportion. She cannot put on weight because that is the condition she's born with. So of course, when she was born like that, not being a so-called a normal child, she was being stared at. She was being looked at. People called her names. She had a very difficult life while she was growing up. So while she was in high school, while she was preparing for one of her projects, we usually YouTube while preparing for projects. So she was doing the same thing. On the right side, you see these, those icons which tells you what to watch. She saw the same, and there she saw a small little photograph of hers, and the tagline was "The world's ugliest woman." So she clicked on it, and she saw there were multiple photographs of hers in a video mode, like photographs put together in a video format, and she saw it where it said "The world's ugliest woman." She scrolled through the comments and she saw people had written very, very insensitive comments. Some of them also said, "Oh my God, such an ugly woman." Some said, "Oh my God, she shouldn't live." So these are the various comments that she received on her photographs that somebody had put in together in form of a video calling her the world's ugliest woman. And so many people on the internet had seen that already. She was shattered. She was heartbroken. She walked up to her mother. She wanted to end her life. A lot of things happened. But of course, her mother was a great friend and a counselor of hers who told her to embrace this, who told her to accept the way she was. And from the time she started accepting it, of course, it was not easy. But from the time she started accepting herself the way she was, she got in peace. What bothers us is when people start saying things about us that only matters to us when we believe it too. When people say things about us which we don't believe, we might just laugh it off or we might just listen from one ear and discard it. She was getting bothered because it was a big thing for her because from the childhood she had been treated really differently by the society. Now, when she saw, after she started embracing it, she realized these things did not matter to her anymore. She had become so powerful beyond measure because she just applied one thing, that was accepting it. She was born this way. There was no way she could change it. Today, she's a motivational speaker. There's a book that has got published, there's a movie that has got published. Today, she's inspiring millions of life, telling people to be themselves, telling people to accept whoever they are, whatever they are, in whatever form they are. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because, and the reason why I asked you the question of what would you like to change if you could go back in time, because you will notice that this lady has accepted herself the way she is. She has accepted her reality. And what happens to us is we keep regretting what we couldn't do. We keep regretting what we do not have, or we keep regretting what we couldn't change. The reason why I'm talking about her is because she's a classic example of how much life can give you, and if you don't embrace it, what can happen to you? Imagine being tagged as a world's ugliest woman, still becoming a motivational speaker. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of potential, and that only comes when we start turning our weakness into our strengths, or we look at other ways to overcome these weaknesses. Reminder number 4 that I want to share with all of you is accept your flaws and take action, of course. Accepting your flaws. If I could not study in a proper English medium school, if I couldn't speak well, if I'm not good in English, well, that is a flaw. I accept it, because if I don't accept it, I'll not be able to work upon it. If, let's say, my relationship with somebody is not good, I should accept it. There's no point denying it. There's no point running away from it. There's no point regretting it. Because when we do all these 3 things, we are still not being action oriented. The moment we accept it, we need to look at, अच्छा ये reality है. अब इसका क्या करना है? What can I do about it? What can I do to change it? After you accept, only then you can get into a position to look at actions, to form your actions, to try and take steps to overcome it. Like there was this, boy that we were working with who had an issue. He would really have major communication challenges because he would stutter a little bit. Now, he would just keep criticizing himself. Whenever he was asked to speak, he would just say, no, no, I can't speak. And he would always take a back bench because he believed that he cannot speak. So, instead of accepting the problem, he was more like trying to, stay away from trying to make changes to it. So then we started working with him and made him realize that the only thing that was stopping him was he himself. Because, I'm sure you would have also seen when people start talking, if you're not talking fluently, the others start making fun of you. And that would stop him from speaking. Why? Because he would get affected the moment the others would laugh at him. It's a natural tendency. But if you're trying to come out of some problem, if you're trying to come out of something major in your life, you need to first embrace it and understand, this is how it is. This is my reality. This is the reality. Now let me work towards changing this. Now let me work towards making it better. So we started working with this boy, started instilling that confidence within him. He started talking slowly and steadily. Within 6 months, he could deliver a full speech. This was only possible not because of us. This was possible because he believed in himself. It was possible because he started accepting whatever he was not good at. He accepted that, and he started looking at ways to overcome that because he wanted to do it. So accept your flaws and take action towards improving it. This is lesson number 4, or reminder number 4, that I want to share with you. Now, moving on to the next one, to finally the last one rather, is when I say, what appreciation would you like to hear from others? There are many times that we want to be appreciated. Of course, everybody wants to be appreciated by others. There are some few things that we always want to listen to. For example, you're the best daughter, you're the best son, you're the best wife, you're the best husband, or maybe, you're the best teacher, or whatever it is. There are various things that we want to listen to from people. You are really helpful, you're very kind, you're so good, you're this, you're that. We want to listen to these things. Appreciations make people feel wonderful about themselves, and that's one way to uplift your self-confidence and self-worth. That's a brilliant way, but not always do people appreciate. Not always do we take out time to appreciate others. We always want to get appreciated, but a very few people put in time to appreciate others. So you may not really have somebody who appreciates you on a regular basis. That's fine, that's normal, that is bound to happen. But what I'm trying to tell you today is that don't look for appreciations outside. Don't look for motivation outside. If that fire inside does not burn, if you don't appreciate yourself, no matter how much the others appreciate you, it will be meaningless. If you're feeling small from inside, if you're feeling that you're not worth it, if you're feeling that you lack potential from inside, no matter how much does the outside force tell you, it will not solve it. It will not solve the problem. So, what I want to tell you today is, when was the last time you said it to yourself? When was the last time the words you want to listen to from others? When was the last time you said it to yourself? When did you appreciate yourself? If you didn't do it, let's start doing it. If you want to listen to, you are amazing, you are awesome, you're great, you are a genius, well, start saying that to yourself. Only when you say to yourself, you will start believing in it. Your motivation will happen, your potential will grow, because then your mind, from being a negative thought process, your mind from not being able to work properly, function towards the positive output, will suddenly start generating results. It's a lot dependent on what we feed into our head. If we keep feeding into our head that we can't, we'll always look at the problems. If we feed into our head that I'm not worth it, I will never believe that I'm worth it. If I start feeding in my head that I am good, I'm fine, I should be respected, I should be getting this, I will start working towards it. So a lot depends on what you fit into your mind. And one small little suggestion that I can give all of you is, every morning when you wake up, I'm sure you all might have a different routine that you follow. Some people like to pray, some people like to sit, some people like to just scroll through their phones. Different people follow different routines that they've set for their own lives, or different habits that have been a part of their life. I would just like to suggest, if you can take out even 5 minutes of your early morning, 5 minutes of your time, just go to the mirror, smile at the mirror, and say words of sweetness, words of kindness to yourself. Anything that you would love to listen from others about you, look into the mirror, make eye contact, and say that to yourself. You will notice that your self confidence will improve by leaps and bounds in a few days. This is a habit that we also tell people when they're going for interviews, to positive self talk. Tell yourself something positive. Tell yourself that you are also worth it. And here is something that I want to share with you. It's a video where this little girl tells us what to do. So let's watch it.
Look, I can be a shark. Now my whole house is great. I can do anything good. I like my school. I like anything. I like my dad. I like my cousins. I like my aunts. I like my Allisons. I like my moms. I like my sisters. I like my dad. I like my hair. I like my haircuts. I like my pajamas. I like my stuff. I like my rooms. I like my whole house. My whole house is great. I can do anything good. Yeah. I can do anything good. Better than anyone. Better than anyone.
Right, so this was a video about this little girl, and I'm sure you would have seen how she keeps herself inspired, how she motivated herself in front of the mirror, telling herself that she can do anything better than anyone else. And this is a small little habit, if we can start instilling in ourselves, if we start applying it within ourselves, our self confidence, our self worth, the power of you, the real power of you will slowly start coming out. Because what we start doing is, with so much of things that we couldn't achieve in our life, with so much of regret, with so much of negativity that we feed it into ourselves, with so much of limiting beliefs that we believed of ourselves, कि मैं ये नहीं कर सकती या वो नहीं हो सकता, or I'm not capable, I haven't been able to achieve this. looking at other people, their accomplishments, forming negative perceptions about ourselves. When you positive self talk, it starts changing your life. So, reminder number 5, and this is the final reminder: positive self talk. Talk something nice, something positive to yourself. And this positive can be anything. This positive can be words that you want to listen to. These positive can be a habit that you want to build. Let's say, for example, you want to be a very good financial analyst, or maybe you want to be the best in aviation, or whatever you would like to do. Start telling yourself that. Your mind will start believing it, and you will realize slowly and steadily there's so much that you can do. So this is reminder number 5. I see some beautiful arrows. Thank you, Shakshi Singh. Yes, so this is the most important thing that you need to do, which is reminder number 5. So quickly summing up, and of course, the final thought that I want to share with you is no one is you, and that makes your superpower. Nobody is you. Each one of us are unique. Same way you are also unique. And since nobody is you, that's your superpower, and that's what you can do. Because you are unique, that means you have the control. That means you have the control to your life as well. Make changes to your life, do something with your life, and remember there's immense potential that each one of us has. We just need to untap it. So here is what I wanted to bring to you today. Reminder number 1, everyone has a different timeline. Like I showed you my timeline and my friends' timelines. Um, Everyone has a different timeline. Don't compare yourself with others. Reminder number 2, you're powerful beyond measure. Unleash your potential. That's reminder number 2. There's a beautiful box also that has come over here. Okay, somebody has, all right, let's continue. Reminder number 3 is find your purpose, your goal, your motive for your motivation. Reminder number 4.
मेरे को रॉयल पास चाहिए.
Sorry. Okay. Reminder number 4 is accept your flaws and take action. And finally, positive self talk, be kind to yourself, because if you're not kind to yourself, nobody else will be. These are the 5 reminders that I wanted to share with you. Just let me stop sharing and start sharing again for that box to go away. Yeah. So
Cheating.
these are the 5 reminders that I wanted to share with you. Right? So that is all that I wanted to share with you. And I want to leave you with this thought that the reason why I chose this topic of power of being you is because there's so much of power that we have. We don't really need, anything else to be able to help ourselves, but yet we get into our own zones of not believing in ourselves. And that's why I wanted to choose this whole topic, to make you realize that there's so much that you all can do. And I'm sure you know it.
This
All you need is a little bit
this
of push.
this meeting is hacked by Zoom Raiders. Chalo.
Right. So thank you so much. That's all that I wanted to communicate to you. In case you all would like to share anything, any
पागल
questions.
पागल 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 है तू पागल.
I'll just pause in case you guys have any questions. Um, you may go ahead and share.
Raja Rajeshwari,
Yeah, sir.
do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Anyone, any questions?
No, sir. I'm not having any questions. Others,
I don't see any.
I do so.
Fine, so you can conclude.
Okay, sir. Fine.
I'm so sorry, Neelu, some disturbing elements were there. Normally, I mean, without our permission, they entered. I mean, we don't know them.
Right, not a problem.
I'm extremely sorry for that. I mean,
Sorry, ma'am. Okay, I concluded. We would like to propose a hearty vote of thanks to you, Neelu Jain, for gracing today's webinar on a topic of how the power of being you. So, I'm assured that all the participants have taken note of your suggestion and will integrate that further in their career. Lastly, we thank you again on behalf of whole Agro Aviation Private Limited team. Thank you so much, ma'am. This was an amazing session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Captain Shekhar. Thank you, everybody.